Yo guys, welcome to another replay analysis with my boy Taisho, SE2 Taisho. Yo Taisho, I think I missed it at the beginning. Would you mind? I know you're in the chat still. Would you mind just telling me what league this is before we really dive in? But we will do that in just a moment, guys. And if you're new to replay analysis, the way this works is what I do is I will watch somebody's perspective and I will basically go over the game and talk about what I think they're doing right, what I think they could do better. I'll basically try to just give them improvements on the playstyle that they like to play. And yeah, we'll talk about what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. But, oh, okay, so it is a diamond level game. This is Diamond 3 specifically, but it's a diamond game. So, hell yeah. Well, welcome to White Raw Announcer Pack. I know that voice anywhere. And also, welcome to Micro, dude. You're Diamond 3? That's there. You're in. You're inducted. You're in the Micro Hall of Fame now. Okay? You're in. Not a fan of the Pylon Scout, I'm not going to lie. I like the Gateway Scout a lot more. Because now you're going to have to rip a second probe off your mineral line, and I don't really like that as much. Also, I do not like chrono boosting your probe. So just know this, okay? Just know this. Literally, this is shit that makes sense. It makes a big deal. Your scout, I guarantee you're not going to see anything of relevancy this early. Like, I think you should Gateway Scout, and you're going to see nothing relevant before this probe would have been there to when this probe gets there. Nothing will change that. It's not like suddenly you're like, oh god, I see everything clearly now. And if I would have scouted with this, I would have lost the game, or I would have been behind. Like, nothing is going to change. You know what actually does change, which is the crazy thing? If you actually go like this, so many players say this kind of shit where they're like, ViBE, 12 pools, bro. Hey, ViBE, 12 pools. They're scary. I don't want to die to a fucking 12 pool. You want to know what's crazy? You actually have a worse defense against 12 pool doing a Pylon Scout than you would if you did a Gateway Scout. And why is that? Because a Pylon Scout or a Gateway Scout is going to get there before Ling's run out of his base. You're going to see it either way. But the difference is you'll see it way early, so you'll go, oh yeah, 12 pool, I've confirmed it. Or your probe would get there and you would see it, like you would see Ling's getting started if you Gateway Scouted, because the pool would already be done. So you'd still be able to react before it happens either way. But here's the crazy thing. When you do a Pylon Scout and then do another probe to build a Gateway, you actually miss so much money that you have to wait longer to build your Gateway. So you actually have a worse defense against 12 pool when you do a double probe pull like this, because you build your Gateway like 4 seconds later or 3 seconds later, because your probe is gone for so fucking long, and you also have to pull another probe to build a Gateway. You miss out on so much more money. So your Gateway's late, and it makes defending 12 pools harder. Literally, it actually makes it harder. So people that think this is easier to deal with 12 pools, you're wrong. It's actually crazy how much harder it makes your life because you have less money. What I would say you should do, is you should leave the probe. If you build your probe, your pylon there, you could go back and mine minerals. However, if you build your pylon here, you should leave your probe here until the pylon is done and then send that same probe out to go mine. That way, this second probe that has minerals in its hand that had to come mine or come build the Gateway doesn't lose mining time. Look how much mining time your second probe loses.
If you want win, don't relax.
If you want win, don't relax. Holy fuck, White Raw, you're going to stress a lot of nerds out with that kind of shit. Alright. I like that quote. Okay, so you pull off your mineral line at 28 seconds. You pulled it off like right there or something, off this patch. Right here. This patch is the one you ripped off. So already, that's 1 second that's gone by. And that's 5 minerals in his hand, okay? So each mineral represents 5 seconds. Each mineral, like, in the hand. Because if you turn this in, it's 5 minerals. That's my point. So this is like 6 seconds already that you're missing because you've disrupted his turn-in, which counts for 5 seconds. And he's also not mining anymore when you ripped him off at 28 seconds. So he's also, that's a plus a second. And every second that goes by now, second, 1 mineral, 1 mineral, 1 mineral, 1 mineral. Let's see. From 28 seconds to 36. So now, this is 8 minerals plus 5. This is now 13 minerals. Just off this probe alone, this is now 13 minerals you're behind. 14, 15. for 2 more seconds that have gone by. Like, my point is right now you could be at 170 minerals instead of 155. And vice versa, you could have been at 150 a little bit faster than when you got there. Because you wouldn't have had to pull this probe off. It does make a big difference. And it would get your gateway down a second or two faster. A couple seconds faster.
Happy 10-year SC2 anniversary. Thanks for all the memories.
Hell yeah, happy SC2 anniversary, 10 years. Fuck yeah, birthday. Thank you very much for the bits, Sword. Much love. And StarCraft 2 has been a life changer for many people, myself included. Hell yeah. StarCraft 2, we love you. But yeah, you definitely, it's just, so the point is that, like, justifications, right? Justifications. It makes no difference. What I meant to say was, it makes a big difference if you keep your probe mining for longer, because you're not fully saturated yet. So you could have more efficient mining, so you could throw down your shit faster. Now, with that being said, let's look at what you scout. Your scout would have been about 20 seconds later if you waited for the gateway. Realistically, yeah, roughly about 20, because the pylon's an 18-second build time. Give a second or two for the building of the gateway and then going across the map. Yeah, you'd be about 20 seconds later. Okay, so let's now look at your probe and justify this. Is the first 20 seconds when your probe gets here worth it? Or if you scouted 20 seconds after it got to his base, would that have been still just fine? Let's justify this. And the answer is you should have gateway scouted. But let's justify it though. Okay, so you see a natural that just started, right? You go, okay, yeah, I just started. But you didn't even block it anyways. You wanted to. You wanted to be annoying and just move around in his natural, whatever, be super obnoxious. That's not something I would recommend either that much for someone in lower leagues. And Diamond even. Because it's going to probably disrupt your build just as much as you disrupt his build. Because you're like, I'm being annoying. Ha 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 ha. Fuck, I supply blocked. Build a pylon. I'm being annoying. Ha 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 ha. Oh, shit, I didn't build a core. Or my Nexus. Fuck. I gotta go back and build those now. Those are all late. Whoops. People do that shit all the time. Just, yeah, focus on your build and make your life easy. But again, I don't mind that you queued this like this. I do not mind that. Because you're not looking at it. But my point is you didn't delay his natural. Even when you went with a pylon run across the map, you still didn't even delay his natural. So there's no gain here for you. In this particular game. And now you get into his base and you see he's going for a gas and eventually going to go for a pool. Now, if you got here 20 seconds later, there's nothing you can do again anyways, and you would have scouted everything just the same. Everything would have been identical. Like, the game would be the exact same for the Zerg. Everything on this side of the map would be identical, but for you, your gateway would be a little faster. Your Nexus would be a little faster. Those kinds of things. All the things for you would be a little faster because you wouldn't have inefficiently mined minerals as much as you did. Generally, I get there before they drop it. This is rare in my league. Well, just know that most players... let me just say this. Most players will go for a 16 hatch. Most players will go for a 16 hatch. Okay? Which is supposed to counter a gateway probe scout. It doesn't necessarily counter a pylon probe scout on every map, but longer maps it still does because you have a longer travel time to get to their base. On shorter maps, yes, a pylon scout can disrupt the Zerg's natural and make them have to build elsewhere. But here's the thing, okay? This is the final way to wrap this up in a gift package. If your build is not adept pressure, why does it matter that you're disrupting the Zerg? If your build does not capitalize on the fact that you made the Zerg build elsewhere, you are setting your own build behind to set the Zerg's build behind. But if you do not have the plan to really take advantage of the fact that you have disrupted the Zerg's placement of shit, there was no reason to do it in the first place. The game just turns into a mess right off the bat for no reason. Yeah, like I would say again, if you're gonna fucking disrupt the natural and be like, haha, go build somewhere else, haha, I'm a dick, I'm an annoying probe, haha, fuck you, Zerg. It needs to be some type of an adept pressure to follow it up. And a 6-minute 20-second adept timing is not valid of that. Because that's way too late. Like, we're talking like your first 2 units out of the gateway should be adepts, and you should go harass the drones. Because you have disrupted his base between his natural and main. Now he took a natural somewhere else. Or something like that. Or he waited until he killed a pylon or some shit to take his natural. If you're doing a 6-minute timing, that doesn't make sense. For this. Like, again, it's fine that you do that, but for the purpose of disrupting their natural, it doesn't do anything. It slows you down to slow him down at the same time. And for those of you that are like, where the fuck is ViBE getting a 6-minute 20 thing? He's talking in my chat right now, and he said he does a 6-minute 20 adept timing. Which, yeah, it doesn't mean shit to a Zerg if they do that, because that's a timing after the Zerg has been able to set up 3 bases anyways. But yeah, anyways, we'll get out of this now. Concept is, I very strongly dislike pylon scouts unless you're going to do something very annoying as fuck to the Zerg. It makes sense if you're going to do adept pressure right away. I would agree with it then. But that's not a build I would also recommend for somebody in Diamond 3. That is something that I would recommend for somebody in Masters 1 or GM. Because you're going to fuck your build up repeatedly if you micro adepts constantly. And if you're not high enough in terms of multitasking capabilities. Like, you're going to fuck your build up. It's going to happen. So, again, that kind of an opener is something I would recommend, not to just be like, I delayed your natural, haha, but it's also to have adept follow-up to it, and because you're able to handle fucking the Zerg over that way. That would make sense for a player like that. And again, you can do whatever build you want behind that. There's no, like, foothold that you've now put yourself into where you're like, well, now I'm committed to going adept with glaives. No, you don't have to do that. You can do fucking anything you want. You could go 2 adepts into Stargate, 2 adepts into glaives, or 2 adepts into like a robo. Anything you want, literally. You can do anything. Because it's just your first 2 adepts, which is not expensive at all. And if you set the Zerg back really far, it's whatever. But it doesn't make any sense to do the adept pressure if you don't do a pylon pull probe scout bullshit. Because then it incentivizes you. Like, I hope you guys understand what I mean. For people who don't understand this, if you displace the hatchery, adept timing is great. If you don't displace the hatchery, adept timing makes no sense. And then not doing an adept timing and displacing the hatchery makes no sense. So it just puts you behind. Yeah. It makes no sense. Yo, Jarrett, thank you very much for the gifted sub, man. Much love. Thank you. You're going for a Stargate. You're going for Adept. You're going defensive with it. If you go, okay, so you are moving it out with an Adept. This makes sense. But again, this is a high level build. It's risky. It's risky. You're playing above Diamond 3. I'm telling you right now. This is like Masters minimum. Let's see what you like. Watch this. This is why I say this is Masters minimum. How many of you right now that are not already Masters yourself are staring at this fight going like this? You're going, how good? Okay, is that adept gonna die? Oh shit. Is it gonna die? He's killing lings though. ViBE's killing lings. Like, he's killing, dude. He's killing lings, man. Look at his money right now. Look at both of their money. Yeah, you might make the Zerg fuck up a little bit too. But look at the Protoss's money right now. It's fucking ridiculously high. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say multitasking. This is not an ideal build for Diamond players. This is high level shit. And the Adept even dies, unfortunately. Which sucks. And also, let's not only mention the fact that the money got high, but why does the money get high? Why does the money get high? It's because you're not spending what you have, right? And what do you have to spend money on? Pylons, probes, and 1 gateway and 1 Stargate. Pylons and probes are 2 parts of that 4-part process, which means if you're not making pylons and probes, you're going to have future problems, which is exactly what's happening now. You're going to saturate slower, and you're going to supply block, which is going to, in turn, also make you, again, saturate slower. This is massive macro problems. And they would not happen if you did not go for adept pressure.
research is complete. You can enjoy new ability.
Fucking love White Raw. I'm happy they made him an announcer. Look at the money. Look at the money. Look at the supply block. Look at the damage, right? But look at the damage indirectly being done to yourself. You are doing a build that is not diamond. You are doing a build that is high multitask. I honestly feel like you are watching a streamer who is like 5,500 MMR or like 6K MMR, and you're trying to do his build that he does for himself. This is not a diamond build. Like, I know what build you're doing. I've seen this build 100 times, 1,000 times. And you're probably going to go to 3 oracles with this build. I wouldn't be surprised. You could stop at 1. You could go all the way to 2 or 3. And you could continuously pick up queens and kill drones and shit and be really annoying. But you're doing so much damage to yourself by not macroing while you micro. You would be so much further ahead. Like, because a lot of people, they get so fixated on, I gotta kill drones to get ahead. I gotta throttle the Zerg. Who says that? Fucking pro gamers say that. And they have a point. That is very true. Zerg pro game or Protoss pro gamers do need to throttle Protoss, or Jesus, I said that wrong 2 times. Protoss pro gamers do need to throttle Zerg pro gamers. They do. That is a fact. Because if Protoss pro gamers go, oh, I'll let the Zergs do whatever they want, they're going to get fucking owned. That is very true. But a Protoss pro gamer's concept of how to play the game does not apply to a Diamond player. It is not the same thing. So right now, all that's happening is when the Protoss player is going, I'm going to throttle the Zerg by fucking his drones up, he's actually throttling himself harder, and he's getting further behind because he's actually just not macroing very much. Like, you're falling... I would say the fact that you are this far behind and the Zerg has no roaches, the Zerg has nothing but drones. You are so far behind where you should be right now. This is not ideal for you. Like, it's not like you're dead and it's like, oh, game's over, but this is not ideal. This is a bad position to be in. The position would have looked better for you if you just made probes and did not supply block and made your third at a good time. Your third is also already... from macro, if you're going to macro, which it looks like you are, because you're going to go take your third right now, your third is like 40 seconds late already right now. Already. This third should be going down at like 440, 445, not 530. And part of the reason why your third is so late is because you had a lot of money and you went, how the fuck am I going to spend it? I don't know. Let's make a shitload of gateways. And you made 6 gates before taking a third base. If you talk to a pro gamer, okay? If you talk to a pro gamer, a Protoss, whose build you're trying to maybe replicate, and you go, if you literally say this exact thing to them, you say, hey, pro gamer Protoss, well, how's my build sound? What do you think my build should be? I go 6 gates, Stargate, I go 6 gates, Stargate, and then I take a third later. And I also have a council and a forge. You know what that pro gamer is going to tell you? Like, how is my build supposed to operate? What is that supposed to be? He's going to say, oh, you're going to do a 2-base all-in, or like a 2-base very committed aggression. 2-base attack. It could be adepts, it could be charge lots, some shit. It's going to be really heavily committed on 2 bases. You need to do damage to the Zerg on 2-base timing. If you tell him, well, actually what I do is I harass with 1 adept and I harass with 1 oracle, and then I go to a third, and I just sit back. He's going to be like, well, why the fuck do you make 6 gates before you take a third then? Like, it doesn't flow properly. So, and again, it would flow better if you had a build that was focused on macro and not multi-prong. Like multitasking aggression with macro at the same time. So if your build instead was 2 gate, Stargate, third base, that would make a lot of sense. And then you could add on gates 3, 4, 5, 6 once you have a third saturated and like setting up. And you could also not only that, but you could position these 4 gateways like right here. And suddenly you're way more defensible easily because you can zone out the Zerg with SimCity. It would make a lot more sense like that. And then also on top of that, you would then actually be able to afford it properly. Because what's going to happen now is if I were to control click your gateways and also look at your Stargate, I guarantee you're going to have this number be 6 in here a lot. It's going to say 6 quite often, and your Stargate's not going to produce anything half the time. Like your production's way too high now because you just made way too much of it, and you're gonna have shit. It's gonna be like very sloppy up and down uptime of producing things out of it because it's before you can afford it. This much production should be built when you have like 60 probes. So it's just out of order, and the fact that you are gonna go for a third, the reason why it would make sense if you would have gone for 6 gates before a third. This is why this makes sense. You cut the cost of probes. You stop making them. You do a timing. You get really fucking aggressive with it. You might kill the Zerg. It's very aggressive. It's super aggressive. 6 gates is a high gateway count. That is committed. And if you have a forge as well and also a council before you have a third, that means you probably should have had something as well like a +1 charge timing or a +1 glaives timing. Something like that. That's even more committed into the gateway timing, right? That's what it should have been to make sense for that kind of a build. But if you're going to go for just eventual upgrades, an eventual +1, an eventual glaives, whatever, this should have been made after the third. Because if you're going to do it eventually, the rule of timing is now no longer existing for you. Like, going for a timing attack and also taking a third in the middle of it makes no sense. So it's just out of order. You're doing 2 builds. You're doing a macro build and a timing build. And you're doing both, and you're kind of trying to push them together. And it's making your macro late, and it's making your timing late. But your macro could be greedier if you just went on the macro side, and your timing could be a lot more efficient if you just went on the timing side. So things are just off. And you also, and not only that, I didn't even see this. You went every single tech path before your third. I didn't even see that you did this. You actually went 6 gate, forge, Stargate, council, and robo. I did not even see that robo. That is even more deeper in the realm of you should have definitely been doing. This is more like all in now. Like what this build should have looked like. If it's going to be this many buildings this fast. Stargate opener is okay. It keeps you safe against people who all in you really hard, like bailing all ins and shit like that. And it also makes you able to deny overlords really easy, to deny scouting, so that Zerg cannot see you doing an all-in versus him. You could follow that up with a council and a forge, which allows you to get +1 in glaives or +1 in charge. And then you can follow that up finally with a robo facility, because a robo facility making a prism is a lot faster than getting the upgrades. It's a lot shorter build times. You could then make a prism, get chrono boosted, send it across the map, and suddenly you're doing a +1 council upgraded timing that is an all-in off of 6 gates. That has not been able to be scouted because you have denied scouting with a Stargate. Like, that would be a real build. That would be a build. But the fact that you're going for a third with it and doing no timing at all, this makes this build, one word, inefficient. It's just inefficient. So just know, your third should be thrown down after you've already committed to like 2 rounds of warp-ins and you're fucking the Zerg up. And if you're like, well, I'm not going to kill him, but I've definitely fucked him up, I would be okay with you taking a third then that is delayed. Like 6-minute third then. That'd be fine. Because you've done so much damage to the Zerg already. You have a fat lead. I would also be okay with no third at all and just continuous rounds of units being made out of these gates because you're very all in right now. Those are the 2 ways that this level of buildings should have been used. They just got merged together in a really awkward way. But now your build's just super behind. So again, if I was going to create a build for you, I would say your build should be, if you're going to go for a third like this, and you're going to get all these buildings anyways, your build should be third base. Your build should be gateway, core, with a nexus, and not necessarily in that order. I don't want this to be confusing. I'll give you the build order as well. Pylon, gate, gas, nexus, gas, pylon, or nexus, gas, core, pylon. Like your core is going to go down after the gate and the nexus, and then gas. The core is going to be like the last thing you build out of this initial setup. So pylon, gate, gas, gas, pylon, core. Now, after that, I might be saying that wrong as well. Fucking build order. God damn it! I wish people weren't so obsessed with build orders. I know they are though. I can do it myself, but I'm like, am I doing this? Am I saying that right? Either way, yeah, we're good. No, we're great. It's good. The first thing you build after the core is a Stargate. You add in a second gateway when you add in the Stargate. Okay? Because the only way a Zerg is going to be able to punish you for not having a second gateway in your wall that early is, and you don't even need it this game anyways, but the only way on other maps a Zerg could ever punish you is if they didn't even have a natural and they were going for a speedling all-in. Then yeah, you would need to make your second gateway earlier. But your gateway scouting probe scouts that. So you'd be fine. You have to realize you wouldn't need to worry about that. So many people freak out for no reason. They're like, Zerg's gonna fucking fling flood me. And it's like, is he? You fucking scouted him and you don't even see any fucking speed. You're fine. You can wait 20 seconds more, 30 seconds more to build your gateway. You don't gotta rush the double gate core right away. You're okay. Your scouting probe tells you you're okay because why? Because you see a natural and a pool that's not even done yet. People freak out about that all the time. They really do. But anyways, your build would be double gate, Stargate. You would then make units off of double gate, Stargate, take a third base at like 4 minutes with like adepts and oracles or some shit defensively. And then after you take a third base, then you would add on first the council, second the forge, third the robo, lastly 4 more gates. Why does this make sense? If you're going to use, I don't really understand, I don't really agree with the forge yet so far because you haven't used it yet, so I don't know why you built it so early. But it would make sense if you went for +1 glaives. Then you got +1. Then you made a prism or a mortal. Either one would be fine. And then finally you would make more gates because by the time your glaives and your +1 are done, your gateways would be almost done. Like they would be finishing roughly around the same time. And now suddenly you're going from 2-gate production to 6-gate production, and you can actually afford it because by the time 6-gate production is ready to go, your third base is almost fully saturated. And ramping up from 2-gate to 6-gate is quite large, which is where the difference goes from being able to afford it. And then the difference of like saturating your natural, how do you afford this? The reason why you can still spend your money while you have your natural setting up when you only have 2-gate production is because you're also adding in the cost of a third base, you're adding in the cost of all of your tech and your production, and you're also adding in the cost of your upgrades. Which end, like you're not going to get glaives every second of the game, right? Once you get it once, it's done. It's over. It's gone. So it makes sense. It flows better like this, I would say. I hope that makes sense. My idea was to do a 6-minute 30 8+ adept timing to help get the drone count down, hopefully equalize it. Then do another timing with 2 mortals and disruptors around 9 minutes. Those timings are super late. Both of them are very late, and a good Zerg player is going to just like literally just slap your build and be like, nope, get out of here. And you're going to be like, well, with my adept timing, I was only behind by like 30 supply, and now with my 9-minute immortal timing, I'm now behind by 80 supply. That will seriously happen to you. Because your build is already very inefficient. I can already see it. You are guaranteed going to be behind versus Zergs who play efficiently. So what you should do, if you want to do a timing, you need to commit to the timing. Don't fucking do like third bases and shit. It doesn't make, again, that's the whole concept we talked about earlier. It makes no sense. It makes literally no sense to go for macro and then be like, well, I just invested the last 30 seconds into macro setups. Now let's go do a timing attack. Because the earlier you do a timing attack, the less your opponent's ready for it, the more damage it's actually going to net you. The more damage it's going to deal. So if you just kind of delay and go, you know what? Let's do a timing now. Well, it gives the Zerg more time to deal with it, and he's literally just going to shut it down. And that's when your timing is going to get there and go, oh, well, it's over already because the Zerg shit on it.
Glory to the Daylong. The firstborn shall
Upgrade complete.
Yeah, it's just out of order is all it is. Your build's out of order. And then when you micro shit like this, the way you should do this is you should always be pressuring. Again, I don't think we're gonna spend too much time on micro because again, this build is not something I recommend you to do. Literally, I recommend you to just do macro builds that macro faster, and you can still micro your army, but it's really macro focused. This build is very multitask focused, and you're gonna fall apart all the time. To prove my point, we're going to watch your production as soon as this battle starts in a second here, and we're going to watch how much you spend and watch how much you actually macro during this fight, just for fun. I bet it's nothing. And again, that's nothing against you. It's just diamond. That's how it is in diamond. Now, with this build, just to give you an idea how you should micro it, if we're going to talk about that for just a second, you should always run at a mineral line while shading another one. So what you should have done is you should have shaded your adepts towards his natural and ran at his third base. The fact that you ran into the roaches and then backed up and then shaded is incorrect. You should have shaded as you got here, because if you see your opponent not give a fuck about the adepts that are shading into his base and he just wants to fight the adepts in his face right now, you will not even lose an adept. You might lose one, but you probably won't lose much at all. This is a large amount of adepts right now. You would shade further in, and if he stays too long at the other ones, suddenly you have an isolated mineral line, which you then charge at that mineral line, and you phase again somewhere else. You send another shade at a different mineral line. It could be the third, the main, or the third again. It doesn't matter either way. You do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And the fact that you're splitting your adepts here this is even more advanced. You could do the same concept with what I just said, but now you could also send some of your shades forward and then grab two and send them down here. You could do that as well.
How you get adepts to kill only drones and not hit queen?
You could do that as well. You could send some of your adepts down and some of them up. If you micro the shades while you're in the middle of killing his shit, that'd be fine too. But the fact that you just sat there and you put no pressure on and then you shade in, you're missing an aspect of pressure that adept applies. It makes it way easier for Zerg to set this up a defense against this. How do you fucking kill drones? You can either physically auto-attack it yourself by A-click, 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 A-click. I don't recommend shift commanding attacking on adepts. The only time I would ever say shift commanding attacking on adepts would be the two here, not all of these. Like if you had two here and you're not going to micro it again for like 6 seconds, you could go A-click, shift, click, 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 5 drones, and then you go over here and you micro this for a little while. And then you come back and do this later. That's the only time I would say that's acceptable. Only time. However, if you have all of your adepts in the fucking mineral line and you're shift clicking drones and he just, let's say he green boxes these drones and sends them away. And he doesn't even send the other side away. He just sends these away. Your adepts will start chasing those drones because they're like, well, I know there's drones over there that we're running by right now, but we have a shift command to go kill that drone that's being pulled away right now. Let's go chase it for a while. Don't fucking do that. That's bad. That's not a good way to do it. A good way to do it would be if you want like a maximum damage, if you have like 8 adepts or 7 adepts, here's how you do it. Understand the range of units. And if you don't understand that, hold position your adepts. Just for a second. If I have a queen smacking my adepts, okay? If there is a queen smacking my adepts, just out of range. A queen's range is fucking 5, guys. An adept's range is 4. So if it means if a queen is max range, just poking my adept, and my adept is on hold position, you know what my adept 8 eye is going to do? It's going to go, well, I can't actually reach that queen, so I'm going to shoot the next nearest target that's in my range. Oh, it's a drone. I'm going to start smacking drones. And it's going to do it efficiently because it's going to shoot the drone that's closest to it. It's not going to shoot a drone way over there. It's going to shoot a drone that is literally directly next to it. And if you have like 6 adepts in the middle line or 8 adepts in the middle line that are all doing this exact same concept of hold position, even though Queen is shooting them, they're all shooting the closest drone to them, you can wipe out a drone mineral line in a matter of about 2 seconds. Like suddenly 12 drones are dead in 2 seconds. And you're like, oh cool, that's done. Phase to the next one. I'm out. I'm going to go to the next mineral line and do the same fucking thing. But if you have Zerglings within range of you, or if you have a Queen in range of you, or if you have Roaches in range of you, yeah, you're not going to be shooting drones anymore if you hold position. You're going to be shooting fucking queens and roaches and or queens, yeah, roaches and drones. Or queens, roaches, and lings, Jesus. So then you'd have to focus fire, focus fire, focus fire, focus fire. If you want to kill drones. Does that make, I hope that makes sense. That I can't explain it another way. That will make it make more sense. That is literally what it means. If your unit is on hold position, it will shoot what is within range of it. So a very fast way to fuck over a queen would be to hold position just out of range of the queen, of your adepts. The queen can still shoot you because it has more range than you. Even if the queen could shoot you, and let's say one of your adepts was in range out of 8, one adept might shoot the queen with the hold position, but the other 7 will be shooting drones because the other 7 are still out of range of the queen. That's how that works. Okay, now going back. Remember what I talked about right before this timing started? Watch this. This is, again, why I do not recommend builds like this for diamond players. Watch. And the fight has now begun. Look at production right now. This is probably the last probe under production right here. We're watching your selection. So since like 6:38, this fight has started. You're looking at adepts. You're doing 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 adepts. Still doing adepts. Still doing adepts. Still doing adepts. You just macroed for the first time. About 40 seconds later. So, yeah, I don't recommend this build. It's way too much multitasking. The proper way to micro this would have been something like this. Watch. You macroed one more time. Before you started it, you run away, whatever. I'm not going to critique you on that. We already talked about this. But you send your shades forward. Right now, you macro again while your shades are going forward. We're looking at your selection, by the way. This is your selection. What can you do here? What can you do here as a player? Fucking nothing. You can grab 2 adepts, I guess, and send them down. That's the only thing you can do. That does not take 7 seconds. It takes literally like 1 second. But you cannot do anything right now. You're waiting for something to happen, right? So macroing right now would be a great thing to do. Make a couple more drones or probes. Make a couple. Make an immortal. Chrono boost something. Make a pylon. Spin your gateway around. Whatever. Like make sure you fully macro everything you can do. And right now, your Nexus is not even building a probe. This Nexus is finishing and not going to build a probe for a long time. This Nexus is going to build this one probe and stop for the next 40 seconds. You can still easily make probes regardless of everything else. And you have tons of chrono energy as well. You have like 4 chronos ready to go as well. So you could have chronoed your Nexus. There's a lot of things you could do here. Now watch. You could do that right now. You have nothing to do. But what are you doing? You're dragging your screen, clicking on your adepts. You're reaching the command multiple times, and you're wasting time. You're just really making sure this thing is going to go the way you want to, but you're wasting a ton of time doing it. You could be macroing right now. Now watch this. Fucking forget about those adepts. Why? Why would you forget about these adepts? You saw the queen was on the north side of the hatchery as you passed it. This is out of aggro radius of the queen. Out of aggro radius. Okay? It is literally not going to aggro the queen if you start killing drones. And if he does not recognize that, and he fixates on these adepts are minimal micro with a maximum returns. The fact that you did this is really good. But the fact that if you ever go back to look at these and keep trying to do it more and more, it's a waste of time. These are going to kill, guaranteed, if the Zerg does not react, like 10 drones right now. And you have to do nothing to do that. You literally do not have to micro it. All you have to do is go, adepts, go there. You're done. You've mission completed. These adepts will eventually die, and you have successfully killed 10 drones. That is a great trade for Protoss. But now watch your micro here. Again, I don't think you fixate on those 2 adepts, which is better. But watch your micro here. This is how you should micro this now. You move in. You're going down. You should look at your adepts right now, and you should go like this. I would say, if you're going to kill the queen, you kill the fucking queen. If you're not going to kill the queen, you should avoid the queen and go to the other side of the middle line and just start attacking the drones. But right now, you could go like this. What do you do right now? You A move. As soon as you A moved, why do you still have your adepts selected? This is the problem that diamond players have. You just A moved. Why are the adepts still selected? What is that going to accomplish, right? What does that change? It changes nothing. You know what you should do? 4 DD. You should also have added in this Nexus in the control group when you made it. You should always get in the habit of doing that. The fact that it's not in there kind of sucks. But right now it should be 4 DDD, which is probe, or EEE. I don't know what your hockey is. Mine is D. Yours might be E. Doesn't matter. What I'm saying is you should select the Nexus right now and go probe. Why would you not do that? Like that is what you should do. That is what makes you have, because again, this is not an all-in. This is harassment that is supposed to have a macro follow-up. So you should at the very least be making workers while you do this. And then, you know, you go like this. You A move it. You go 4 EEE, probe. And you move forward, and then you come back to and then you don't have to look at your Nexus to do that. You just go 4 EEE. 1, move command, A move. And then that would reposition your adepts like this. And then you do it again. You do it again. Right now, hold position. This would be a perfect fucking time to hold position. And the reason why I say that is because it would give you about 2 to 3 seconds to fuck his drones up no matter what happens. And you know he's chasing you with roaches. So what's going to probably happen is his roaches are going to show up and he's going to smack the side of your adepts. So this would be the perfect way to micro this now. You've just killed the queen. You've just made a round of probes. You could go like this. Adepts, shade on the mini-map, literally. I don't even, again, I do not have to move my screen. I could shade on the mini-map right there. Shade towards that middle line on the mini-map. Hold, and then the second I say shade, hold position, hit H, and then go like this. Go back. Make a pylon. Make a gateway. Make a Stargate unit. Make a robo unit. I make my unit rounds. You have 5 gateways ready to go. Make gases. Get ready to build a 4th base. Macro. Do anything you got to do with your current money. Anything that takes priority. What is your priority? Right now, I would say it's making the robo unit and making your gateway units. That's it. That's all you should be doing right now. Why the fuck are you microing the adepts? It makes no... Like, you don't want to fight the roaches. Your job is to kill the drones right now. So you should be setting up to do that. And your job is also to give yourself a better follow-up after you kill the drones. So microing any fucking time at all to fight these roaches, if you're going stutter step, shoot roaches, stutter step, shoot roaches, stutter step, shoot roaches, it's like waste of fucking time, waste of fucking time, waste of time. It doesn't do anything for you. It puts you in a deeper hole, essentially, because you're not macroing and you're just staring at the fight. That means nothing to you. What you want to happen is you want to kill all these dudes' drones, and then by the time he pushes across the map, you're like, I macroed during that, and now you have less supply than me, and I have like enough immortals alone to kill you, not to mention I have sentries and whatever else. Like, I can kill you with anything at this point because I'm so far ahead. So again, you should have shaded away, held position while your shade was going off, so that if the roaches go and fucking attack you, you go, hi roaches. Maybe like one of my adepts on the side that you're killing is going to deal with you. The rest of my adepts are going to kill drones, kill drones, kill drones. And it's only going to be there as long as the shade is there. And then it allows you to macro. And then suddenly you're done macroing for your round of like 4, 5, 6 seconds, whatever. And then suddenly what happens? The adepts shade in the main. When they shade in the main, you do the same fucking thing. You're in the mineral line, you kill the queen, and you like hold position or whatever. Maybe you're shading right there, and like some of your adepts are killing the queen, and some of your adepts are killing drones because you hold position. While you're doing that, 4, probe. Make my unit rounds, do whatever I can, spend your money. Again, the whole point is you're avoiding the roaches. You do not need to stutter step to avoid the roaches. The only time you need to avoid the roaches and use your units and micro them is if you shade into a surround because you're already surrounded anyways. Because the Zerg made so many fucking units that he's going to kill you if you stay or if you shade. Then, as you die, and you have no choice, try to maximize damage on killing drones as you die. That has not happened yet. That is not even going to happen yet. You're not surrounded right now. You are also not using your cooldown right now. There is no reason to get stuck here. But look what's happening every time. It's because what you see from a pro gamer is pro gamers. This is why people are so fucking confused about micro. The fact that you're stutter stepping right now makes literally no fucking sense. I don't want to yell at you. I know it's sounding like I'm yelling at you, and I don't want it to be like that. This is Diamond League. I'm passionate about this. I'm trying to teach you something. But when you watch a pro gamer play, what happens when adepts get into a Zerg's mineral line? The Zergs are defending it, correct? The Zergs are actually there, and they're fucking you up. And they're like, I'm going to kill these fucking adepts. That's what's happening when you watch a pro game of StarCraft, because Zerg players do not leave themselves undefended like this. So what do you see from Protoss players? Stutter step, stutter step, stutter step, stutter step. However, in your game, because the pro player needs to maximize that before the adepts die, because otherwise the adepts are just going to die. If they go back and go, I'm going to macro now. Yay, I'm going to macro. Oh, my adepts died because I was already surrounded as soon as I shaded in because the Zerg is prepared for it. Well, I just threw my adepts away. That's what a pro game is like. So they have to stutter step. But you don't have to stutter step. So it's almost like you're doing like fucking unnecessary commands here. You're doing unnecessary commands here of going like, it's like you could just have, let me say it like this. Imagine if you're, okay, we're going to give you an analogy, okay? This is an analogy. Imagine if you're cooking and you're like peeling and cutting a potato. You have the potato, it's been peeled. You got to cut the potato with a knife. It's like what you're doing right now is you could just cut the potato with the knife, but let's say when you're like a chef who's on like TV or some shit, you're making the knife do like flips and shit in your hand. You're like flipping it, catching it, cutting it, flipping it, catching it, cutting it, because you're like, yeah, look at me, I'm a badass, cool, yeah. But now you're doing it when like no one's watching by yourself. You're just like, whoop, yep, I'm cool. That's a bad analogy. It's terrible. I was hoping it would sound better than that. I kind of went nowhere with that. But I hope you get what I mean. You're doing it for no reason. You're doing the stutter step for literally no fucking reason. It makes no sense. Because it's like you're just like styling on drones that are just like, we're mining minerals and we're dying. Yay. And you're like, what's up, boys? Fuck yeah. Woo. I'm going around you and I'm just killing you anyways. And if you just sat there, you would do the same thing. Why is analogies always trash? Shut up. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. There's no reason to stutter step. You're not accomplishing anything by doing it, is my point. And let's look how long you waited to actually use your shade. Watch the shade. It's up very fast after it starts. Watch the shade. It's ready to go at 6:49. Your shade's ready to go. How long does it take you to shade? I guarantee you could have shaded again by the time you cast it. You could have already shaded again. 6:49. You cast the shade at 6:57. Shade is an 11-second cooldown with a 7-second cast time. So if you cast it at 6:49, you would have shaded into another base at 6:56. Which means by the time the roaches got here and you killed the queen and half the mineral line, you would have already been teleporting to the next base. This is why, if this was a GM Protoss, this Zerg would die right now. The game would end right now. Because a high-level Protoss player will maximize that. They will not fucking waste time and, hey, drones, what? Killed 2 of you, what's up? Oh, roaches here? Fuck you, roaches. All right, I'm going to shade now. No, a fucking GM Protoss is going to be like this. The roaches are going to be there. They're going to be like, drones are dying. And then the second the roaches get there, it's going to be like, poof, fucking vanish. Adepts have just disappeared out of thin air. Like, what? Oh, he's in the main. Roaches go over to the main. As soon as the roaches get to the main, poof, roaches have disappeared into thin air. Or the adepts have disappeared into thin air. And then suddenly the Zerg who's in Diamond League versus a GM Protoss doing the exact same fucking units here. The Zerg would be like, wow, I only have like 12 drones on 3 bases. I have like 4 drones, 6 drones, and like 2 drones. I'm fucking dead. Because you have to understand your priority. What is your priority? It's to kill drones. So why are you wasting so much time running around in the mineral line when nothing's there fighting you? You're stutter stepping for no reason. You're wasting auto attack time. And then when the roaches get there, why are you not yet shaded out so that you're also throwing glaives at roaches? Neither one of those concepts makes any sense. And that is, if you've ever heard a pro player use this concept, this is exactly what this is. The concept is called over micro. This is exactly why I tell you, a player who is learning from like bronze to GM series, that's why I tell you, don't fucking micro your army. Literally don't micro, because you know what you're going to do? You're going to over micro it, and you're going to make it worse than if you just fucking A-moved it. And then, yeah, now you're dead. And again, that right there, that's one of those moments where that one right there, look at this one. This would have been the, so we're talking about micro, right? We haven't finished this fight yet. So you should have been hell positioning, setting your depth shades out already, and you should have been macroing while you were on hell position while a shade was going. Because and the time that no roaches are here, you know you're going to kill drones. And you can macro, 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 macro. Maybe you'll come back like 1 or 2 seconds before the shade finishes as the roaches get close. And you might get that one final focus fire on a drone before you leave, right? Now, as soon as you shade into the main, let's pretend you did it a lot faster. But with this now, when you micro this, okay? When you go to the main now, and you look at this, this is that moment. This is the moment when you look at this and you go, well, fuck me. I can't just hold position here because I've teleported literally into a surround of roaches. I am literally surrounded by roaches and queen And if he wanted to, he could even A-move my drones. And not only that, but my adepts are also getting really close to dying. My adepts are getting super close to dying. This would be that moment where it would make sense to just micro for the next 6 seconds or 5 seconds. Why does that make sense? 5 or 6 seconds does not dictate shitty macro or good macro. It's not really enough to really justify much at all. And when it comes to macro, if you let your economy build up for 5 or 6 seconds, that's okay. It's not 40 fucking seconds like it has been since you have not macroed since you were here. But it's like just 5 or 6 seconds because this is the final moment when you have to do something with your army. Otherwise, it's going to get really shitty trades. Here's the point. If you do nothing, your adepts are going to shoot roaches and they're going to die. If you do something, your adepts are going to kill something and they're going to die. The adepts are never going to get out of this now. They are going to die. Like looking at this, you can quickly analyze and go, yeah, the adepts are dead. Why are the adepts dead? Because you've shaded into units that are there to kill you right away and your adepts are already about to die. So what you should do here is stop macroing. This is that moment where that one moment where you should actually stop macroing, and now you should stutter step away from the roaches, kill a drone, move forward, kill a drone, move forward, kill a drone, move forward, kill a drone, move forward. You could probably kill, I'm not even kidding, if the Zerg micros no drones here and he just lets his shit sit there, you could probably kill 8 drones here as your adepts die, but your adepts are going to die. They are not getting out of this alive. They're dead. If you recalled right now, you might save 1 adept and 5 will die. Like, they're going to die. So if the best way to maximize this would be now to actually focus fire drones, stutter step away from the roaches to make those roaches take a little bit longer to kill you. But you're going to die, but maybe you get that 1 or 2 final drone hits off because you stutter stepped away from the roaches as you kept killing drones. That's when it would make sense. And now let's watch and see how you micro this. Again, your camera is here. You stutter step away. You killed 1 drone. You killed 2 drones. Now you start shooting roaches. And then you go macro. That's the one time when you actually chose to macro that you should not have chose to macro. You should have macroed everything up to that point, and this is that one final moment in this attack where you should have actually microed. Like focus fire, focus fire, focus fire. But you just fucking went, what? Fuck it. Let's macro now, because I have 1,500 minerals because I haven't done any the whole time up to this point. And look what these adepts accomplished now. When they could have killed, seriously, like another 8 drones. I'm dead serious. These adepts could easily have killed like 8 drones before they died. But again, they were definitely going to die, which is why microing was important here. But let's watch what they accomplish now the second you looked away. What do they actually do? Fight a roach. Kill a roach. Or shoot a roach. 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 They're just shooting roaches and dying. You could have killed, when those adepts shaded in, you could have killed like 8 drones. And then they would have died either way. So again, that's just like a missed opportunity. And your money should not have been 1,500 as it started. Your money should have been like 300 as you started doing that, because you should have macroed in the moments where it didn't make any fucking sense to stutter step. Like, why micro there? Makes no sense. Send a shade, hold position, call it good, macro. 5 seconds later, micro it again. See what's happening. If you're good, send a shade, hold position, call it good, macro. If you're gonna die, micro it until it's dead. For 5 seconds until it's dead. So again, missed opportunities. That is the difference of a high level player who understands when it's appropriate to micro and a player who doesn't. Because it's a player who doesn't thinks it's appropriate to micro. Here's actually the biggest truth of all, guys. Do you think a pro level player micros every fucking unit every second? The answer is no. They pick their battles with their time. A pro level player will pick the battles that make sense to micro, and they will then also pick battles that make sense to macro. And if it makes sense to macro in a battle, they will not just go, you know what? I'm going to fucking micro it anyways. I'm going to micro every unit every single second it's fighting all the time. They will pick their battles. Parting always micros. No one does. Nobody always micros. The only time it ever makes sense to always micro every unit is if you're doing like a 1 base all in. And you only have that. That is literally it. No more macro. If you're doing an all-in and you stop macroing because this is how the game goes now, I need to kill him here. I'm focused 100% on my micro now because I'm not macroing beyond this point. That's when, yeah, you will micro everything. But if you have the intention of expanding, no, you don't micro everything. You do not micro everything. You pick your battles when it makes sense.
No more media.
But now, with everything that's happened, like everything we just talked about, the whole inefficiencies of the build early on, and then the inefficiency of the micro of how the timing went, that's like a double negative for the Protoss, and now it's just going to be this deficit that's going to make the game feel harder than it has to be. And again, this build, like I said, is higher than Diamond. You should actually just be macroing, and then doing this timing.
You have exhausted all the minerals.
Don't give a shit. Do not give a shit about your early adept, 1 adept, and then like the 8 adepts you did, or 9 adepts you did, and your Oracle and Phoenix. Do not give a shit about any of those 3 attacks you did up to this point. If you just macroed, okay? And then you actually went to the point of the game as you are now, with the immortal timing with sentries and shit, and then eventually disruptors. This is still a complex army to use, and this is still a hard build for Diamond players to get to handle. But you would actually have a better chance to win the game. Very, 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 very high chance of much higher chance of winning the game like this, because you will have actually macroed up to the point to where you've made a proper timing. And if you're fighting a Zerg who goes for fucking roaches and shit, you're going to have a better chance to beat them if you have a higher supply, because his supply is going to be probably maxed out regardless of when you hit him, but your supply should be higher faster because you don't waste so much time not macroing.
But faster.
Like, look at the Zerg. He's maxing out either way. He is maxed either way.
Research is ready.
The Zerg would not have been maxed if your timings were a lot more efficient. That's a fact.
Finally, our units get new.
All right.
Protoss never give up.
Protoss never give up. And now this comes down to micro again. So now force fields are how you need to win this game. Good force fields. That right there is that Diamond. I don't want that. It sounds like an insult, and it kind of is, but it's not supposed to be a big insult. It's supposed to be just. It's supposed to just be a fact. You're microing disruptors, and you have a concave of Stalker Sentry and Immortal. You got a couple of really juicy ass disruptor hits, which were nice, but you focused all of your attention on microing the disruptor. You didn't touch a single sentry. You're gonna have to get used to multitasking. Because you're playing a multitasking style already, you have to understand multitasking. The way this fight should have gone would have been like this. Let me just explain the fight, how it should go. You know he's pushing you. You saw him as he chased you across the map a little bit.
Upgrade has been completed. Time to show new skill.
He's here. You're engaging him. You do right now, as you engage him, I would say this front disruptor, it's close enough. You could throw a disruptor shot at him right now. You could A move towards him and throw one disruptor shot at him right now. He backs up. It would have probably whiffed because he backed up, and that would be okay. You have 3 disruptors. And then right now, as he re-engages, a perfect way to micro this would be force field, there, 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 and there. And the second you force field, you immediately tab to your disruptors and throw another disruptor shot. And then you can micro your disruptor shot. Sentry force fields are priority. What this would do is you would lock in like 50% of his army, and you would lock out like 50% of his army. Now 50% of his army is no longer in the fight. And then the 50% of his army that is in the fight, that is now stuck, is now currently being shot at by a disruptor that is currently coming towards the army. And if the Zerg splits, you still could have a very high chance of getting a very juicy shot, because he cannot go backwards. He has to go side to side around it now. And if you hit a juicy fucking shot with your disruptor shot, you immediately disintegrate the majority of what's here in your face, and it's all just dead. And if the Zerg backs up, that's a great fight for you. You lose really nothing, and you fuck him up hardcore. If the Zerg does not leave and he sits there and stays and waits until he's in your face, again, well, you just repeat the process. The fact that you didn't use the sentries at all here is a massive blunder, and you have 4 of them with 4, 8, 9, 12 force fields. You have 12 fucking force fields you could use here. A sentry's cast range is about this far, by the way. You could cast a force field about right there with that front sentry. That front sentry right there could cast a force field. Look at the white dot. Look right here. See this? Look at the green box. Now notice how there will be a white dot checkered thingy that will pop up there. Do you see it? Do you see how it pops up? That is the fucking cast range of a force field. It is quite large. It could cast literally. I even guessed that, and it's accurate. It's right about that far away, in every direction. So if you moved forward, and you cast force fields like there, 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 and there, you could easily do it with this sentry and this sentry. These 2 front sentries could easily cast the force fields in this line. And while he's trapped, your army would automatically concave because it's on a move. You could throw a second disruptor shot, and you could blow up the majority of the clump here in the front. And then suddenly your concave could finish off the remainder easy peasy. But sentries weren't even touched in this fight at all. They weren't even touched in this fight, not once. And it was all that was happening right now was this is what the Protoss was doing. The Protoss is microing disruptors, and he's watching the disruptor. So it goes like this. A move. Micro disruptor. Shoot disruptor shot. Watch disruptor shot. Disruptor shot hits. Shoot disruptor shot. Watch disruptor shot. Disruptor shot hits. Shoot disruptor shot. Watch it. Like, that's the only micro that's... It's like literally like... It's like one action every 5 seconds. Or one action every 4 seconds. It's literally just staring at the fucking disruptor shots. Look at the unit selection right now. It's his selection. It's... Again, I don't want... I'm sorry, Taisho. I'm picking on you really hard. But it's just diamond level shit. And people need to learn how to, like, multitask units. Staring at the disruptor shot right now changes nothing. You don't even change the course of the disruptor shot. You just stare at it. You get in this zombie mode of staring at the... It's like the sun, and you're just like... Oh, fuck! Oh! You're still looking at the same selection of units. It's just the disruptors. So nothing is... This is essentially 0 micro. 0 anything. Yeah, you got kind of lucky that he ran to that second one. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. A little lucky on that second shot. First shot was good. Second shot was a little lucky because he ran into it. But yeah, force fields should be used there. Like, that was the priority, and it wasn't even used at all. Because you want to know what force fields do? Let me just tell you what force fields do. This is what they do, guys. For everyone who's like, well, ViBE, those are some good disruptor shots. You know what would have happened? If he would have backed up as you cast disruptor shots, if he would have just backed up, you would have whiffed. It's a gamble to just shoot a shot like that. Like, your second one was a massive gamble. You barely connected to him, and it's because at the very end, he decided to walk forward and then just get blown up by it. He walked into it. But if you cast force fields first, it does 2 things. Number 1, it keeps your army safe. Number 2, it guarantees a disruptor shot because he can't run away. He can't retreat. It's a double positive. So if your army has Stalker, Sentry, Immortal with a couple disruptors, you need to use those force fields.
It should have happened. You have exhausted all the minerals in the cluster. Mineral field exhausted. Time to make expand and defend.
Alright, now that he's going lurkers, you should actually go back into making disruptors, honestly. Disruptors are better than Colossus against lurker. So what should have happened here in this fight? I'm not gonna break these. I'm gonna kind of skip by these now because this fight was awful. You should just understand the concept of lurker counters Colossus. It really does. So what you should do here is you have disruptors in their own control group in 1, and you have your army in 2. That's great. You should just have your army sit barely out of range of Lurker. Just sit barely out of range, and just pick at him with Disruptor. You know why this works like this? Disruptor has more range than Lurker, even when Lurker has hive tech upgrades. You are the one with the superior siege here, so you pushing into him makes no sense. There's a difference between pushing into him and sieging him. You should siege him, not push into him, because what happens if you do that, if you siege him, you make him push into you. And when he pushes into you, you get a 10 times better fight. But you pushed into him, which makes no sense because you have disruptors. This is impatience. This is throwing the game away. This is you literally throwing the game away. That fight made no sense for you. Why push into lurkers? Like, you just threw your army away. And then again, this makes no sense by Zerg. Why the fuck, after getting such a good lead here, does he completely forego the lurkers now and just dive forward? It makes no sense. He should have, after he crushed your ass like that, he should have uprooted and pushed you again. Or just went somewhere else and zoned you with lurkers. Like, having the Hydras engage and Roaches engage by themselves against a bunch of Colossus is dumb. It made no sense. So it's like the Zerg kind of getting a lead and then throwing his lead away. To a degree. Like, he didn't throw the lead entirely away. He still has a lead, but last attack, like, why would he dive forward? He's now foregoing his own siege after he killed yours. Because he killed your disruptors. I'm glad you're going back into disruptor. That's smart. That's what you should be doing.
No more minerals in the field.
Good. You're doing the correct thing now. You're only doing it. You're doing the correct thing, but you're doing it improperly. You're doing the right thing, but you're not actually guarding it. This is risky. Like, your army should be close by. So if he actually dives forward ahead of his lurkers, you can pull the disruptors back while your army covers them. The fact that these guys are just by themselves is the exact same thing that you were doing over here with your adepts, where you're just tunnel visioning the one unit. You're like, fuck everything else in the game. I don't care. This one thing is all that matters right now. I'm tunnel visioning. The disruptors are so, like, the way you have micro disruptors here means this is like a suicide mission. Even if they get damage done, they're not going to make it with their army again. They're so fucking isolated that they're just going to die. You don't want to do that. Like, you want your army to be here so that you can shoot a shot at him safely to where if the Zerg goes fucking YOLO, he charges forward, he charges into you. It's the whole concept of sieging him to make him take a bad fight towards you. But if you just throw your army away, like if you get a good shot here, that's great. But there's a chance you might just throw these away. You got one nice shot. He didn't really react super fast with his roaches. He just burrowed his lurkers. But yeah, that was not necessary for the disruptors to be by themselves like that.
You have exhausted all the minerals in the plant. No more minerals in the field.
Okay, now this makes it harder. It's harder to siege him when he's putting you on a timer where he's killing your base. You have to kind of have a rocket up your ass. You got to go a little faster here. You got to move around quicker, because otherwise your base is going to die. This is now a hard position to be in. The best thing you could do here, in my opinion, would be recall. Like, again, this is advanced as fuck. This is like the game's already fallen apart. My opinion would be maybe recall half your army, initiate a couple really juicy disruptor hits if you can on a chunk of lurkers, but engage him from both sides. Do a flank, because lurkers will engage shittier if you flank them rather than coming from one angle. And if you get rid of a lot of lurkers too, or a lot of his Roach Hydra with a good disruptor hits, that'd be nice as well. But if you come from one angle and you just walk into it, you're gonna die.
You made it fast. Now the best. Mineral field is no more gas on the west behavior. We will be back stronger in next game.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. I hope that makes sense though, Taisho. All that stuff we talked about. Your build, your opener made the rest of the game hard as fuck. Your opener is inefficient already. And then your timing attacks made no sense the way you microed them. Also, they're late, so they're also doing less than they should be. Like, it'll feel easier if you have a properly timed timing. The early parts, like, I focused a lot more on the earlier stages of the game because it sets up the late game a lot more. And your early game was fucking made no sense. It made no sense. So go back and like fix what I talked about, and you suddenly your builds will feel way more clean and they'll feel stronger against Zerg. But yeah, everything we said in this game was relevant. I would just start repeating myself if I kept going. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you found it informative. But thank you guys very much for watching. This has been another replay analysis with me, Mr. ViBE. This has been a bit of a long one. But yeah, man, good shit. Thank you, Taisho, for being my subject today. Taisho, I know you said you were happy with the, me picking on you. I'm glad. Some people get really sad that they almost see it as like talking shit when it's not. It's just trying to make you better. I'm trying to give you as much information as possible. And I'm glad you see it that way. Hell yeah. Guys, if you liked it, go watch more. I have many more replay analysis, coaching lessons, and also Bronze GM stuff if you guys want to check those out. If you're interested in getting better at StarCraft. But until next time, take it easy. Good luck. And I will see you guys later. Bye, guys. Peace. Thank you, Anonymous. Bye.